This is Gravity Bone, a first-person short story as described by developer BLENDO Games. When I was a kid, I had this little MacBook, and I was desperate for an FPS game, but back then, more so than today, there wasn't much available on macOS X. On my quest to find games, I found all kinds of treasures. Salt Cube was, and still is, a very simple shooter. To tell you the truth, I'm a little surprised it's still up. It's a little floaty and a little buggy, and sometimes the characters just jump around all over the place. Now, that could have something to do with the people I'm playing with being thousands of miles away in this one active server I found. On the other hand, Urban Terror for a free game is very polished. There's tons of guns, movement is very fluid, lots of quality maps. This game used to be pretty damn popular. It doesn't seem as big anymore, but it looks like there's still a community here. Here's a server I managed to find that wasn't just a bunch of bots. A lot of my time in this game was sunk into the jump maps, which is similar to surfing in Counter-Strike. Here's me killing it on icy jumps. Wow, look at me go. But I was always really impressed with one of the FPS games I came across, Gravity Bone. As soon as this game starts, you're hit with it. You know what Gravity Bone is about as soon as you come down that elevator. It's bright, it's colorful, it's responsive, it wastes no time, it's concise, it's charming, and it has terrible mouse acceleration that you can't turn off. I don't remember this. If you look at the game's frequently asked questions on the site, you could see that it uses the Quake 2 engine. It's funny seeing the console messages pop up. The game is short. Since I've played it a few times before, this run only took, I guess, about right above 10 minutes. There's not much to it other than some exploration and platforming, but it's a lot of fun, and the presentation is fantastic. It's extremely simple, but I can't put a lot of weight on it since it's just a short, free game. When I saw pictures of 30 Flights of Loving, it was obvious that this was from the same developer, judging by the art style. You know, I never got around to playing it, but I figure that it's just a fleshed out Gravity Bone, so might as well give it a try. 30 Flights is on Steam, but you could also get it on itch.io, which is what I did. Thank you, BLENDO Games, for the choice of DRM-free video game. When the game started out, I figured that, you know, maybe this is intentional, like the protagonist has a hangover or something, and that's why everything is so hilariously distorted. But I realized very quickly this is not the case. I think the resolution's too high. That doesn't work. That's not good. Okay, the BLENDO Games website will have the answers. Okay, how do I start the game in a custom resolution? Okay, in the Steam library... Oh, okay. You know, I just realized that this is a 10-year-old game. I guess I lost track of time because I thought this came out like 5 or 6 years ago, not 10. So I guess it's relatively reasonable to see bugs in a 10-year-old game that's basically a mod for a 25-year-old game. Either way, after dicking around with it for like 15 minutes, I got it to work. I can play the video game. The story is very vague, but it seems to follow you and your crew who are drug runners, maybe? And something goes wrong in the mission. It kind of looks like you got betrayed by one of your crewmates, and you've got to save the other one. Unlike Gravity Bone, there is no platforming. There is no exploration. There is only walk forward. And why can't you turn off this mouse acceleration? Like I said before, the story is very vague, and there's lots of stuff that I don't understand, and it's not interesting enough for me to ask any questions. I think maybe this game is just too deep for me. Oh, it's over. First ever run, 8 minutes long. That was even shorter than Gravity Bone, and somehow had even less gameplay. Although, to be fair, you can't get much lower than 0. Well, that's the end of the game. This is a review, so I guess I'll give it a score. I give it a 0. Wait, no, I don't want to end it like this. I like BLENDO Games. Other than Gravity Bone, I've played a couple of their other freeware games. These games do have a special place in my heart. This is my first bad experience with one of their games. And I think at the very least, I could talk about maybe one more game, something a little bit more recent. Quadrilateral Cowboy is a cyberpunk crime game where you put your brain in a computer maybe. You go into the computer to pull off heists. It's a puzzle game, and it mostly surrounds your deck, which is like a portable terminal you use to hack objects around you via command line. It really reminds me of a very light version of a Zachtronics game where you're programming solutions. All the programming here, of course, is very basic. You don't need any prior knowledge to play it. It's not very complicated. It's a fun game. There's sort of a pattern where you typically solve 3 puzzles, and then it gives you a new item which introduces a new concept, and you can like take your own time to learn in this little training room. I think for the most part, people will be breezing through this game. Not every puzzle was easy, but in general, there are no real snags. Except for me, at least, on the last puzzle. I was really stuck. But I figured out you can glitch out of the grate like this, so I guess I didn't really beat it. It's still short, but unlike the others, long enough to be a full-fledged game. 4 hours is what I got, so you can beat it in an afternoon, like I did. The story, from what I can gather, is nice, and the ending is very sweet. Just 3 ladies in the city running heists. Then they're friends. That's about all there is to it. Fun game, yeah. There's not much to say about it other than that. I like BLENDO Games, and I think there's a lot of talent there. They make very unique games, and we need more of that, even if it's a bit unconventional, or weird, or janky, or short. In the games I've played today, the developers just want to tell a story, and that's okay. But I think it's okay if you know what they're about before you play them. I wanted to try some of their other games, but the only other thing that interested me was a spaceship game called Flotilla 2, but it's a VR game, and, well, it's VR. The odds are pretty good I won't have anything good to say about that. Looks like they do have another game in the works right now, a shooter game called Skin Deep. Might be worth checking out. Okay, 30 Flights of Loving and Quadrilateral Cowboy, $5 and $20 each, respectively. Both on Steam and itch. I liked one, but not the other. It's okay. BLENDO Games, I wish you nothing but the best. Hope to see you again soon.